January 31st, 2026. Superman, William Dunn, that's my name. Reign of the Superman story. Debut reign of the Superman. January 1933, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Statistics, also known as William Dunn. The Superman, also known by his real name William Dunn, was the earliest known person to carry the mantle of Superman. He originated as a poor man who had to wait on a bread line each day for food. He was approached by a man named Professor Smalley, who offered him a hot meal. Upon following the strange professor, our poor man became a lab rat and was subjugated to a strange meteor rock, which it was later revealed gave him superpowers. His superpowers, which unlike the modern Superman powers, are mainly mental in nature. Telepathy and the ability to control human minds and telescopic vision quickly corrupted the poor man, and he became an evil supervillain, quickly dubbing himself the Superman. After experimenting with his powers, he decided to take over the world. He began sowing discord between nations to prepare for this. Professor Smalley, however, wanted the powers for himself, and the two had a final battle, of which Dunn was the victor. Unfortunately, Dunn's powers wore off soon after. Legacy drawing of the Superman from the story, having donned a Superman costume after becoming Emperor of the World, which didn't actually occur in the story, although it was Superman's aim. Drawing of the Superman from the story, having donned a Superman costume after becoming Emperor of the World. Okay, wow, that's in there twice. Although Dunn's reign as Superman was short-lived, he is remembered as being the first to use the name Superman. The name was later adopted by the Superman and finally by Kal-El, Chaldean. Behind the scenes, the Superman was the first version Superman to ever appear in print. His story was told in Jerry Siegel's sci-fi short story, Reign of the Superman. This early version of Superman is depicted almost entirely different than the modern version. First and foremost, he was a villain. Secondly, his powers were mainly mental in nature. And thirdly, he was originally human, while the modern version was an alien raised on Earth. SupermanFandom.com. Dr. Wildman and Dr. Loring, Susan Loring, contact request, info Brock Law, 8:01 a.m. to me, Rapid Robert 813 at Dr. S. Loring's at ymail.com. And Brad Pope, the Lyon County Sheriff, has a hat that has the letter Y on it for Yerington. And there's a Pope from America, from Chicago, Illinois, named Pope Leo the 14th, Robert Francis Prevost. I know it's a common name. This is bias going on. Judge Camille Vecchiarelli recused the case out of bias. And the plaintiff against me that has the Class C felony charge is Julia Ann Bice at 2030 Lonnie Lane. And Judge Lorianne Matthias, who picked up this recused case from Camille Vecchiarelli, is the one that's biased for having the same middle name as Julia Ann Bice at 2030 Lonnie Lane. Good morning, Mr. Dunn. I hope this email finds you well. Mr. Brock has asked that we coordinate mental health evaluations. Just got done reading an article about mental abilities. My name's William Dunn. It's all coincidence. It's biased. Mental health evaluations for you with Dr. Wildman and Dr. Loring. And Dr. Susan Loring has the same name as my mother, Susan, because it's a common name, Crystal. No, you're intellectually dishonest, and you've been coordinating on your clients along with the Stephen B. Rye. You need to repent. Stop enforcing biased agendas and calling your target victims paranoid. It is our understanding they have been attempting to contact you. You scheduled an appointment, but have been able to reach. I gave them 3 dates back in early January. They never responded back. That is corrupt. They have their minds made up. They want to put whatever diagnosis on me, whatever I answer, say. That is corrupt. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you, Crystal. Kind regards, Brock Law, LTD. Phone number 775-993-9683. Info, BrockLawNevada.com. Mailing address, P.O. Box 222, Winnemucca, Nevada, 89446. They're really on Liberty in Reno, Nevada now. The Syrian Wild ass Robert Wildman, Dr. Wildman. The Syrian Wild ass equus Heminus Hemipus. Are you doing well, doctor? Or are you psychologically projecting on your clients while you have a secret problem I don't. You need to repent from framing evidence, colluding with framing evidence, and question your clients when you know You reject what you know so you can put your bias charge on you need to repent. Or a Mesopotamian Syrian onager is an extinct subspecies of onager native to the Arabian Peninsula and surrounding areas. It ranged across present-day Iraq, Palestine, Israel, Iran, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Turkey. It is believed this may be the wild ass that Ishmael was prophesied to be in Genesis and the Old Testament. References to this wild ass also appear in the Old Testament books of Job, Psalms, Jeremiah, and the Deuteronomical books of Sirach. The term wild man has its origins in Anglo-Saxon and Middle English derived from the words wild and wild man. Historically, it referred to individuals living on the fringes of society. Is that you, Robert Wildman? You're licensed to be a doctor, but somehow in your privacy, which you want to use against others' privacy, and in gaslight, while I'm under investigation, heard through my smartphone, God knows what else. Historically referred to individuals living on the fringes of society or those who displayed your psychological protection. You need to repent. Wild or unkempt appearance. The surname likely emerged in the 14th or 15th century as a descriptive name for someone associated with wilderness or the wild man motive in European folklore, symbolizing raw nature and outsiderhood. This Is Me, paperback, illustrated May 7, 2014 by Edward M. Dunn, my last name Jr. Irish bards praise the martial prowess and commanding stature of the Dunn warriors. They were undoubtedly conspicuous in history for their doughty resistance to the encroachment of Anglo-Norman invaders who held lands in the Pale, boarding their territory. The Dunns were in the forefront of every battle for Irish nationalism. They suffered heavily in the bitter and prolonged struggle against Cromwell and the next generation. They espoused the Stuart cause, and the head of the family was killed in the Battle of Aughrim. They want me slashed, murdered in jail, and rule it out as a suicide like Troy Driver. With the fall of the Stuarts, the lands of the Dunns were confiscated, and their fighting men who survived followed Sarsfield and the wild robbermen, wild geese, and my Dunn family history. Dude, you are dishonestly surveillancing people and using it against them. You need to repent. Be truthful about surveillance from now on to fight in the ranks of the Irish Brigade in France. And I have accidentally forgot that Reagan is mentioned in this. Here we go, Reagan. The Dunn family is the same Celtic stock as O'Connor's and O'Dempsey's clan, who trace their descendants from Rosa Felgetch, Rosewell, eldest son of Cathar Mór, King of Ireland in the 2nd century. The Dunn sept stems from Ronald Reagan, 10th in lineal descent from Felgetch, the district ruled over by Reagan, located in County Lex, which became the ancestral home of the Dunns. The name Ronald Reagan, is of Irish origin, derived from the Gaelic surname O'Regan, meaning descendant of Reagan. Ronald Reagan related somehow. William Francis Dunn IV, 2031 Lonnie Lane, Dayton, Nevada, 89403. Social Security number 557730018. Date of birth November 12, 1980. On the same day, Arturo Abascal Sosa, the current Jesuit superior, the Society of Jesus, born November 12, 1948. He will be retiring between 2026 and 2027 for Jeffrey Burwell to be elected Jesuit Superior General before Robert Francis Prevost retires as Pope, and for Cardinal Louis Sacco from Baghdad, and this is why Saddam Hussein was removed from power, to be elected Pope at the Vatican by 2028 before Kamala Harris and Warnock are elected President, Vice President, inaugurated January 2029. As I have a red birthmark on my right hand, as per numerology, 666, when added, comes to 9, a tricky number that stands for greediness and natural disasters. But 9, 6 plus 6 equals 18, and then 1 and 8 and 18 equals 9 is also the number of Mars Mangle, which means extra energy, which can either make or break. It is impulsive, restless, stubborn, inflexible as Jumani, times of India times. Revelation 13:16 through 18. 0018 in my social security. New international version that forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark. They're trying to throw me in prison despite having this mark. Which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. Here is the Rome, as in Rome, Italy, Vatican City, surrounded by Rome, Italy. And Pope Francis spoke to the United States Congress in September 2015. Rome Survey Social Security Administration page. This is the SSA.gov website. Rome, HTML, SSA.gov. as church and state, as the church corrupting the state, abusing state powers on citizens that speak their minds about the Vatican. Pope Francis, my middle name is Francis, and the current pope is also legal name is Francis Prevost. Pope Francis Jorge Morario Bergoglio, born December 17, 1936 to April 21st, 2025, was head of the Catholic Church and sovereign of the Vatican City State from 13 March 2013 until his death, 2025. He was the first Jesuit pope, the first Latin American, and the first born or raised outside Europe since the 8th century Syrian Pope Gregory III. Easter in 2030, April 21st, 2030. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations in 2015, created 17 World Sustainable Goals. Nathan R. Grove, across the street at 2030 Lonnie Lane. And Jean Malone's birthday is listed on here. Sister as Julia Ann Bice. Lori Amadeus, Julia Ann Bice have the same middle name, have been colluding. False evidence, you name it. And they presided over the Troy Driver case, who supposedly hung himself at Brad Pope's County Jail in Yerington. Is a lie. He was murdered by a trustee, maybe another inmate, and a sheriff deputy looked the other way and covered it up because Naomi Irion's father, who was murdered, Naomi Irion, by Troy Driver, his father's a diplomat to Ukraine. There's a cover-up going on there. Don't know if Zelensky, Vladimir and Volodymyr are the same name, meaning Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Zelensky. There's a cover-up going on here that Zelensky might be a papist, obeying Cardinal Louis Sacco at war with Vladimir Putin. May 3rd, 2007, Denver's grandson, Nevada Supreme Court. This is the court order against me. Violation of extended order against stalking harassment. Nathan Victor Rothschild is involved in this somehow. These people across the street are embezzling. They have their hands in other people's bank accounts around here. Julianne Bice, against stalking or harassment in violation of NRS 200-591, a Category C felony, that on or about August 3, 2025, within Dayton Township, Lyon County, Nevada. The said defendant intentionally violated an extended order against stalking or harassment issued by Julianne Bice is getting money through my mother's bank account somehow, and other people around here. It has been coordinated with Jackie next door at 2033, and Court next door to them, and Court. Dude, they're playing false evidence. They're removing people's computers and filing stalking charge for irony when it's them doing this. Harassment issued by the Dayton Justice Court served on August 23rd, 2024, valid until July 2nd, 2026, and the defendant violated the extended order and the matter following to wit. The defendant posted a threatening message directed at Julia Bice on Facebook and the jobs groups, all of which occurred at or near 2031 Lonnie Lane, Dayton, Nevada, and they got my Facebook deleted back in December, a week before I went to Fernley Courts on December 16th. Dude, Judge Lori Amadeus had my Facebook deleted. All of which is contrary to the form of statute in such cases made and provided, and against the peace that is tampering, dude. They are and accusing me, fingerprint framing, you name it, when they're the ones that are framing the evidence to begin with, to snitch on it when it's them doing that. All of which they'll find Nathan's fingerprint somewhere and they'll just hush it up and scapegoat me anyway. They've been breaking into this house. All of which is contrary to the form of statute in such cases made, provided against my mother gave Myra Ruiz a key back in 2018. Susan finally changed the locks in December 2025, but I think they gave the key away again. And I was suspecting Serena and Alberta next door, but it may have been to Jackie, and Jackie got the key back across the street to 2030, and they went through this house while we were at court on Monday, January 2026. All of which is contrary to the form of statute in such cases made, and they turn off their cameras, what they do, that's pointed at this house, and they go through this house, and then when they get back to their house, they turn on their camera. There's gaps in camera footage too. Complaining, praise, they're making fun of praise, that a summons and or warrant be issued and that said defendant be dealt with according to law. I declare under penalty of perjury under the state of Nevada that the foregoing, it is embellished. On this 6th day of August 2025, Stephen B. Rye is a subversive, corrupting law. And the reason why he's able to do this still is because Judge Lori Amadeus is in on it. All you need to do is repent and stop doing this to people in your community. You go back on some cases and adjust the times, and you make sure inmates are taught the truth from now on in state prison and county jail. When you release them, they're not going back to the same conspiracy that got them in jail to begin with. Class C felony from Stephen B. Rye, August 6, 529 bracket C Class C felony. The entire purport of this fourth vow. My name is William Francis Dunn. The fourth vow of obedience to the Pope was and is with regard to missions, and this is how the bulls should be understood, where they speak of this obedience and all that the sovereign pontiff may command, wherever he may send one, and so on. The Constitution of the Society of Jesus and their complementary norms, a complete English translation of the official Latin text, the Institute of Jesuit Sources, St. Louis, 1996. August 6th marks the anniversary of the atomic bombing in Hiroshima in 1945, a pivotal event in World War II that resulted in immense destruction and loss of life. Historical context: on August 6, 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb known as Little Boy on the city of Hiroshima, Japan. This bombing was part of the U.S. strategy to compel Japan to surrender and thus bring an end to World War II. The bomb detonated at 8:15 a.m., resulting in a catastrophic explosion that instantly killed an estimated 70,000, 80,000 people, with total casualties, including those who died later from radiation sickness, reaching around 140,000 by that end of that year. The Bloodlines comic book cards, 1993. Skybox in Canada. Skybox is in Canada, and that's where Jeffrey Burrow is going to be elected as the next Jesuit Superior Society of Jesus Worldwide Superior General by 2027. It's my Social Security card, 557-730-0018, Revelation 13:16-18. Cal Brock, Chaldean Brock. It's a Louis Sacco agent. He's corrupting the courts. He's not speaking the truth on behalf of the clients to the judge. He needs to do is repent. If he wants to be a funny man, you go to the comedy stage in Reno on the weekends. He used to sell houses while he was a lawyer. Robert Wildman. And there's the entertainment center in my bedroom that has a dog skull, shaped like a dog skull. And by the way, Judge John Schlegelmilch wrote my father, who's now dead, a thank you letter for my father being a juror on a murder trial in 2016 at 3rd Judicial Court, which John Schlegelmilch presided. My mother's very dishonest. This is why I mean they're a Judas, operating with those people across the street, and are receiving messages from the people across the street through Jackie next door at 2033 Lonnie Lane, deleting text messages, you name it. And Judge John Schlegelmilch has a skeleton statue at his desk in front of his computer monitor at the Judicial Court in Yerington, Nevada. He's skull and bones. And there's Judge Glory Ann Matthias, that has the same middle name as Julianne Bice, across the street at 2030, Agenda 2030 Lonnie Lane. It is 2:09 p.m., January 31st, 2026.